this is Jen's B Lifestyle channel, and I'm so glad you decided to click on this video because today I will be talking to you about my Invisalign journey. So if you'd like to see how my Invisalign journey went, stay tuned for the rest of this video. And if you haven't subscribed, click that subscribe button down below, turn on your notification bell, and you know the rest. I completed my journey in 2018, started my journey in April of 2017, and I've been promising to put up a video on my Invisaligns, and I just haven't put it up. So although I'm finished with my Invisalign journey, I still do orthodontic appointments, and I still have what's called a Vivera tray. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it looks like this, and it is from Invisalign. So I just recently got this tray, or 4 sets of trays from my orthodontics to be able to take care of my the straightening of my teeth and to retain the straightness of my teeth, even though I'm no longer wearing my actual Invisalign trays, or even though I'm no longer on my journey. So I'll get into that at the end. So I'll be looking down at my phone so I can go through all of the different questions that y'all might want to know. I'm pretty sure I'll miss a few things, and if you have any questions about Invisalign, you can always put them in the comment section. So the first thing first, the cost of my Invisalign treatment was $5,300. Fortunately, my job at the time covered $2,000 of the $5,300, so that made me responsible for $3,300. Question that I always get is, how does it work with your appointments, or how did it work with you getting your trays? So I would get 3 sets of trays every time I went into my orthodontist appointments. So for me, I had 3 sets, which means that you have to change your trays every 2 weeks. So 6 week appointments every 6 weeks. You change your sets of trays every 2 weeks. Somebody wants to know, what are the cubes that are on your teeth when you're wearing Invisaligns? And those are called attachments. Attachments are just like brackets that are on braces, traditional braces, and they help to make sure that the movement of your teeth are moving properly throughout the process. So the amount of attachments that are placed on your teeth are going to be dependent upon your particular case. For me, I ended up having 8 attachments, and most of my attachments were on my teeth on the side, and I had a few attachments at the bottom because I dealt with crowding. So I do want to let y'all know that I'll be inserting clips of when I first got my Invisaligns. I'll be inserting pictures of me before I got my mold back. I believe the pictures are so old that I can't remember exactly what they were, but I just want y'all to see the condition of my teeth versus how my teeth look now. I hate to say this, but I don't like the chewies. I did not like using the chewies. One thing that I recommend for your first few weeks of having Invisaligns is to make sure that you are being gentle on your mouth when you're pulling out your trays. And one thing that truly helped me is I pulled my trays out with my thumb versus pulling my trays out with my fingers and pulling them out from the front. You always want to pull them out from the back.
So I wanted to take this little commercial break to show how you can remove your Invisaligns. Again, I am currently wearing my retainer, and you just remove your retainer the same way that you remove your Invisaligns, by using your thumb, and you'll find it much easier doing it that way and much less painful.
And if you're struggling with the sharpness of the back of your Invisalign trays, one thing that my dental assistant told me was to get some emery boards to make the backs of my trays smoother, and that helped me tremendously. One thing you don't want to do is you don't want to shave down your trays too much because you don't want to cause them to lift in the back. But emery boards helped me tremendously with the sharpness of the back of my Invisalign. Another thing that helped me a lot during my Invisalign journey was the first few days your teeth will have some tightness and you'll have a lot of saliva coming out of your mouth. So I ended up taking Tylenol to help me during the first few days, to help to relieve some of the pain and the pressure that was on my teeth. And then eventually the pain did subside. So if you're experiencing pain right now in your teeth and you just got Invisaligns, just realize it's a part of the process. Someone also had a question for me where they asked if I had to get treatment done to my teeth prior to getting Invisaligns, and the answer is yes. I had to get treatment done to my teeth prior to having Invisaligns. I had to get on top of my normal routine dental. I always got my teeth cleaned, but I ended up having to get deep cleaning because I had somewhat of a periodontal situation going on. So I had to get my gums together before I got Invisalign, and once I got my gums and things together, then I was able to go ahead and go to my consultation for my Invisaligns. Well, my second consultation for my Invisaligns, and then proceed with the Invisalign process. So I did have to get my gums together. Now, when I had my initial Invisalign appointment, one of the concerns from my orthodontist was that I still had all 4 of my wisdom teeth. So I was kind of frustrated because I thought that my wisdom teeth were going to set me back from being able to get Invisaligns, but fortunately it did not. So if you have wisdom teeth, if your orthodontist can work with it, you can definitely still get Invisaligns. I didn't have any shifting in my teeth. I got my wisdom teeth pulled after I had completed my Invisalign journey, and I was already in my retainer. So I was a little bit nervous about that because I thought that it was going to change the shape of my retainer. But fortunately, my oral surgeon was able to do something with my trays to where my trays were able to fit properly after I got my wisdom. Alright, so let's get into the pros and the cons of wearing Invisaligns. And this list is not going to be a list that includes everything for everybody. This is just a few of the things, or several of the things that I believe are pros and cons. You can put your pros and cons down below. I'm pretty sure it'll be some that I missed. But I'm going to start off with, so one thing that I consider a pro of wearing Invisaligns is the amount of time, or the duration in which I had to wear Invisaligns compared to traditional braces. If I would have gotten traditional braces, I would have had to go through a 2.5-year process rather than the 1.5-year process that I had for my Invisaligns. So I started my journey in April of 2017 and I ended in September of 2018, so it's a little over a year. I would say is the cleanliness of Invisaligns compared to traditional braces, or what I've seen in traditional braces. I just like an overall clean look. No shade to people who have traditional braces, because I was going to get traditional braces, but at the age that I'm at, it just didn't seem fitting for me to get traditional braces. So I like the clean look. I didn't want to have a wire in my mouth, and so that's why I consider it a pro. Pros that I experienced from my Invisalign experience is I became more hygienically aware of my teeth, my dental care, my dental routine, whatever you want to call it. It caused me to brush my teeth more, to floss more, to be more aware of my breath, just all of those things overall, because you're consistently going to the orthodontist. I was consistently also going and getting my teeth deep cleaned, and I learned about different toothpaste that help with the enamel of my teeth. And throughout my journey, I also noticed that my teeth ended up not only getting straighter, but also improving in health as well as white. So one thing that they told me specifically when I got my Invisalign at the orthodontist was do not use a whitening toothpaste. Did I follow those instructions? No. I used Colgate whitening toothpaste the whole entire time that I had my Invisalign, and I still use it, and I didn't have any type of buildup or residue after they took my attachments from off my teeth. So I'm not trying to give out any bad advice. It ended up working for me to where I was still able to use my whitening toothpaste, and as you can see, my teeth are pretty white. So yeah. To some of the cons that I experienced, and again, this will not be sum total of every con and pro of wearing Invisalign. This is just a small list. One of the cons to wearing Invisalign is they are uncomfortable the first few days that you're wearing your Invisalign. That would include when you're switching between your trays every 2 weeks. So the tightness that you experience when you first get your Invisalign can be similar to the tightness that you experience when you're changing out your trays. So if you're in your first week of Invisalign, or in your first few days of wearing Invisalign, just know that once you change over to your next set of trays, your new set of trays, there will be some tightness those first couple of days that you're wearing those trays. For me, one thing that helped me was I took ibuprofen the first few days when I first got my Invisalign, and I also that helped me tremendously, and the pain will subside. For some people, they have more pain, but for me, my pain subsided after like the first 3 nights. Now, another con to wearing Invisalign, especially at the beginning of wearing Invisalign, is it is pretty disgusting how the plastic feels on your teeth, especially when you wake up in the morning that first night after you have Invisalign, because you feel all of the saliva, the gook, all of that stuff from your morning breath, and it's all in that plastic, and the plastic, it's not a good feeling. So you'll eventually get used to it. I think it might have taken me until like my 3rd set for me to get used to sleeping with Invisalign, sleeping with plastic in my mouth, and yeah, so I was able to adjust, but it did take me a few trays, sets of trays, for me to finally be like, okay, I've gotten used. Another con for me, especially considering the fact that I like to eat a lot, is having to wear the trays for 22 out of a 24-hour day. 22 hours a day wearing trays in your mouth. No. Now let me tell y'all, I still ended up with straight teeth at the end of my journey. However, after maybe my first 6 sets of trays, I was not wearing my Invisalign 22 hours a day. It just did not suffice for me, okay? Because I like to eat, I like to snack, so I found a way around it. Now, was I only wearing them 10 hours a day, 2 hours a day? No, I didn't go down that low, but I might have went an additional hour or 2, and I still ended up being just fine. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not saying to you don't wear your trays the full 22 hours, but as you progress through the journey, you'll notice that it'll be times where you're able to kind of finesse it a little bit. Another major con for Invisalign would be that they are easily misplaced due to them being clear. If you put your Invisalign down somewhere, please remember where you placed them. I used to wrap mine up in tissue because I did end up losing the case that they gave me at the orthodontist. I ended up eventually getting myself a dental bath from Walmart. So you can get you a dental bath, and it looks like this. A lot of people who are older or people who wear dentures, they have dental baths, and you can get this, and you can put your retainers, or you can put your aligners inside of the dental bath, and this was like $1. If you wear Invisalign, 9.5 times out of 10, you're at least gonna have one experience where you end up misplacing your trades and you're gonna be like, are you kidding me? I better find these things. Then one of the last cons would be your treatment plan may last longer than what you were quoted at the beginning of your Invisalign journey. Initially, when I started my Invisalign journey, it was only supposed to be for 9 months, but it ended up being longer. Again, I got my first set of trays in April of 2017, and then in September of 2018 I ended up being finished with my Invisaligns. But during that time I ended up having to get 13 additional refinement trays. Refinement trays are additional trays that you end up getting after your overall Invisalign treatment is done, like your regular trays are done. So what they did for me was they did a consultation, asked me how I felt about the look or the appearance of my teeth on my last appointment. My orthodontist came in and he saw that it needs to be a little bit more work done on the bottom portion of my mouth because I still had a little bit of crowding. They put this thing in my mouth that looked like a emery board and shaved between my teeth to create more space. And then they gave me back my last set of retainers that I had already been wearing for 2 weeks. And they told me I was going to have to wait another 3 weeks to get a new set of trays. So make sure that you take care of that last set of trays that you get for your Invisaligns, because if you have to get refinement trays, you will be in that last set of trays for longer than 2 weeks. So if you have questions about refinement trays or the refinement process, you can put them down below in the comments as well. So I'll probably be doing a part 2 to this video because I know that I didn't end up covering everything, but I do want to talk to you all about my I don't know how to pronounce this, Vivera tray. So once you get to the end of your Invisalign process, you will be able to get your attachments shaved off your teeth. If you have attachments, they'll take the attachments off your teeth, they'll polish your teeth, and then once they polish your teeth, for me, they shaved them down to make my teeth even, and then they gave me my retainer. I keep calling them trays, but my Vivera retainer. So when I first got my retainer, I ended up getting one retainer, and I believe it was like $450, and I ended up paying for it with my FSA dollars at work. And at your last appointment, if they ask you if you want additional retainers, say yes. Say yes. You know what? No, it was $995 for this retainer, for this retainer at the end. And then my replacement retainers that I got at the end of last year ended up being $450 or $490. So I ended up being able to get four retainers for that price last year, because once you get done with your Invisalign journey, it doesn't stop with you going to your orthodontic appointments. For me, at Charlotte Dentistry, they like to follow up to make sure that your teeth aren't shifting or anything like that. They want to make sure that you're taking care of your routine dental. And so last year, towards the end of the year, for my follow-up appointment, since my retainer was getting somewhat old, because you have to remember, you're not going to be changing out trays, you're going to be in that same retainer. So gunk and all the stuff that gets built up in your Invisaligns when you're wearing your normal Invisaligns, just imagine having to deal with that in your retainer. So get a backup retainer. Get a backup retainer at your last appointment. Fortunately, like I was saying, my orthodontic always follows up with me, and so I ended up getting my 4 replacements, and I ended up paying $490, $450, somewhere around that range for 4 retainers, and that's not bad. So pretty sure I didn't end up covering everything that you might want to know, so I might end up doing a part 2 for this video. Let me know if you have more questions down below. I'm trying to remember, it was something that I wanted to let y'all know, but I totally forgot. Oh, I know I said somewhere in this video that I would let y'all see how I looked before I got my Invisalign. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you want me to do a part 2 of this Invisalign journey, definitely let me know. Like this video, comment positive things, and I'll see y'all in the next video, and stay tuned for the rest of these clips.
So I think this is called an overbite, I'm not sure. So this was the main thing that used to bother me so bad. I didn't even used to let people sit on my left side. Very self-conscious about it. I think this is a crossbite. I don't know, but I'm glad I don't have it no more. And then whatever this is. I had major crowding in the lower part of my mouth. And then to the front, I had, I don't know what this is called, but all you can pretty much see is gum. So I had to get my regular dental together as well, get my gums shaved down. I had a lot of work. So these pictures that you're seeing are from the beginning of my journey to the end. Sometimes I was able to smile in a way where you really couldn't see how bad my teeth were, but you can clearly see my overbite in the photos prior to me getting Invisalign.